Hi, my name is Kelsey Takahashi. I'm a junior, and I did my research project on the effect of dietary zinc on the quality of sleep in adolescents. Many teenagers experience insufficient amounts of sleep per night and poor sleep quality due to poor dietary choices and unique behavioral factors. Adolescents experience a lot of changes around puberty that alter their sleep and leave them vulnerable to sleep disruption. From studies that I've read, adequate sleep is defined as 6 to 8 hours per night regularly and plays a huge role in the health of adolescents. These issues with sleep can influence their performance in the classroom and ability to learn. Increased amounts of homework and electronic use may also be responsible for insufficient sleep reported in adolescents. Unhealthy diets is another factor that may also account for not enough sleep. Adolescents typically consume high portions of energy from fat and low portions of energy from carbohydrates. They are also frequently the target audience for marketing of energy-dense, nutrient-poor food and beverage products, and these eating behaviors increase the risk of sleep disturbances. So the difference between sleep quality and sleep quantity. Impaired sleep quality may contribute to fatigue in students even when sleep quantity is adequate, and duration may not be able to be changed, but possibly sleep could be improved through better quality. So one way that diet and specific foods may affect sleep quality is through zinc. Zinc is recognized as having a central role in the regulation of essential functions such as memory and sleep. Previous studies have found that zinc supplements can regulate sleep in young children and adults, and studies have also shown a link between dietary zinc and the regulation of sleep in the brain. Dietary zinc maintains zinc homeostasis in the glutamatergic neurons, which are neurons that also regulate sleep. And therefore, it's possible that dietary zinc can act in the brain to regulate sleep. So consumption of specific foods have been correlated to sleep quality in adults. A study assessing the relationship between specific foods and sleep quality in adults showed that consumption of dark fruits, kiwi fruit, and water were associated with good sleep quality, and foods containing tryptophan, such as soybeans, turkey, as well as alcohol, were associated with poor sleep quality. So I found that zinc has not been tested specifically in adolescents or through eating foods high in zinc. So my study focused on the effect of dietary zinc on sleep quality in adolescents, and the purpose of my study was to find a way for adolescents to experience a better sleep quality to offset shorter durations of sleep through dietary zinc, and just to improve overall zinc. So the question that I tried to answer is, can zinc improve sleep quality to offset when duration is inadequate? And so for my experiment, I hypothesized that if zinc can act as a sleep modulator, then higher levels of zinc in diet will correlate to a better quality of sleep. So the first thing that I did was I had to recruit participants for my research project, and so I put blurbs in the daily bulletin and in the SAO emails, and I hung flyers around the school, but most of my participants were volunteers. So when they expressed their interest in participating, I sent out a Google form with all of the information on the screen. So for my sample group, I wanted to have it varying in genders, varying in age, and then I had to exclude people with food allergies and exclude people with sleep medication to eliminate alternative explanations for my results. And then just kids that have varying amounts of sleep regularly throughout the week. And so the dietary supplements that I chose, so for zinc I had breakfast cereal and cashews, and then for placebo I had brown rice cakes, low-fat popcorn, and reduced-fat potato chips. And then so I had to standardize the amounts that I was giving out to my participants. So the first thing that I did, I went to the National Institute of Health Office of Dietary Supplements, and I reviewed over various foods high in zinc and the listed amounts of zinc in that portion size of that food. So foods with the highest level of zinc included oysters, beef chuck roast, crab, beef patty, and lobster. And all of these items are foods that students wouldn't be willing to eat 1 hour before bedtime and are hard to access as well as hard to prepare. So I chose items that were high in zinc but also seemed appealing to adolescents. So that's how I chose cashews and breakfast cereal. And then so I used the amount of zinc in 1 cashew and 1 cup of breakfast cereal to calculate a standardized amount of 2.56 milligrams of zinc, which is a reasonable portion size to consume each night. And so it came out to 1.6 ounces of cashews and a half cup of breakfast cereal. And then for the placebo foods, foods high in sugar and glycemic index can result in sleepiness, and it has also been observed to alter sleep duration in adolescents. So to exclude this as another potential alternative explanation for my sleep results, I chose placebo foods that had no zinc and were also low in sugar and glucose. And then for my measures, I used the Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index, or the PSQI, which is a self-reported questionnaire that was used to subjectively assess sleep quality. It collected qualitative and quantitative data. Parameters of sleep quality included sleep onset, waking, rating of sleep quality, and fatigue. And then I used digital sleep journals to subjectively assess sleep duration. Parameters of sleep duration included time participants went to sleep, when they woke up, and number of sleep disturbances. And then my experimental design, I chose to do a double blind between groups design. And so it consisted of 3 phases, a 3-day baseline phase, a 4-week dietary intervention phase, and then a 3-day washout phase. The study was over the span of approximately 5 weeks. There are 2 groups of 4 and 5, so 9 participants total, and each group simultaneously went through the 3 phases. During the 4-week intervention phase, participants consumed either zinc or placebo supplement each night 1 hour before bedtime, and no sleep was tracked during this phase. And then during the baseline and washout phase, sleep duration and quality was tracked. So digital sleep journals were administered on the first and last 3 days of the trials, indicated by the pink markers. And then PSQIs were administered on day 3 of the baseline and the washout phase, indicated by the blue markers. So there was a study done on the effect of kiwi fruit on sleep quality, which provided the experimental design and the protocols of my study. So it showed that digesting kiwi fruit 1 hour before bedtime would allow for fruit to be fully digested in the digestive system and absorbed by the digestive system before participants go to sleep. 2 kiwi fruits were consumed nightly 1 hour before bedtime for 4 weeks, and then dietary supplements often take a longer period of time to build up and have a greater impact on sleep, so that's why I chose this design. And then for my results, so the PSQI Global Score is a sum of all the component scores, which is equivalent of the participants' responses on the questionnaire. A smaller PSQI score correlates to better sleep quality, and a higher PSQI score correlates to poor sleep quality. So the 4 participants in the control group from pre to post dietary intervention experienced a decrease in duration by approximately 25 minutes, while their sleep quality improved. So their pre-average PSQI global score was 6.125, and it dropped down to a score of 5. And then the 5 participants in the experimental group, after from pre to post dietary intervention phase experienced a decrease in duration by approximately 22 minutes, and their sleep quality also improved, going from an average PSQI global score of 5.7 to 3.4. So I ran a couple tests to see if the experimental group differed from the control group. In the experimental group, 3 participants' sleep quality improved and 2 did not. And then in the control group, 3 improved and 1 did not. And then total in both of my groups, 6 out of 9 participants had an improvement in sleep quality. And then the data table below, I ran the Fisher exact test, which is a non-parametric test of proportions that does not have to follow normal distribution, and it was used to analyze whether participants' sleep improved in both groups, and if the results of the study was statistically significant enough to say that zinc improved or did not improve sleep. The Fisher exact test accepted value for statistical significance is 1.0. However, the results of my study were not statistically significant, yielding a p-value of greater than 0.5. And then I also ran an individual analysis of the participants in the treatment group to compare if sleep duration and quality improved or did not improve for the experimental group. So of the participants that consumed zinc, only 2 out of the 5 participants experienced inadequate sleep. And so participant 1, so the 2 that are highlighted, those are the ones that I'm focusing on. Participant 1 sleep quality improved significantly, going from a score of 10 to 3.5. And then participant 8 sleep quality diminished slightly, going from a score of 3 to 4.5. So from my results, it's difficult to say if zinc has an impact on sleep because participants in both my control and my experimental group improved in sleep quality. There are a few other factors that I didn't take into consideration going into my research, one of them being zinc absorption, and then zinc homeostasis, zinc intake, and then other dietary nutrients found in diet, such as fiber, phytate, calcium, and cadmium. So in my study, participants in the experimental group consumed 2.56 milligrams of zinc during the intervention phase, which could have negatively affected zinc absorption in participants, being too much zinc. And then the diet of participants before my study was not assessed. And the results of my study may have been affected by choosing cereal, which contains phytate, which compromises zinc status in participants. So my results were highly variable due to a lot of methodological limitations. First, participants' sleep fluctuated greatly throughout the 3-day baseline, and this resulted in an unstable baseline. So possibly extending my baseline phase or focusing on a different population that has a more consistent sleep schedule. And then my sample size was too small, only having a total of 9 participants. In future research, I would like to possibly increase my sample size to maybe 20 people. And then lastly, I didn't have a system to confirm 100% compliance with the tasks and rules of my participation. So I'm thinking about doing chemical analysis of zinc in participant system before and after intervention phase, or alternatively administering dietary journals to track what participants eat. So if dietary zinc can improve sleep quality in adolescents to offset shorter durations of sleep, a simple change in diet could be the answer to feeling less fatigued during the day and overall better sleep. Research like mine is important, especially for adolescents who are a population that do experience insufficient amounts of sleep per night and poor sleep quality due to poor dietary choices and unique behavioral factors. So what I learned from this process, I gained a lot of new skills. I learned more about experimental design, statistical analysis, and just reading about academic journals and papers. And then you just learn more about the scientific process. You go deeper into what it is. And I highly recommend it for students who are passionate about science or anything to do with research, because you're able to focus on something that you're really passionate about and want to learn about. And then lastly, I'd like to thank Dr. Chan for all her advice and willingness to help me throughout the research process, Dr. Stern for taking his time out of his busy schedule to mentor me and give me guidance and helpful advice, and then lastly, Izzy Sakota for helping me conduct my experiments and always willing to help me out. Thank you.